Have you ever gotten to the end of a long day and you're just completely wiped out, but you can't really point to anything significant you got done? For years, that was me. I felt like I was just spinning my wheels in a constant whirlwind of emails, meetings, and notifications. I was always busy, but I wasn't doing work that actually mattered. That whole feeling sent me looking for a better way, and that's when I found Cal Newport's Deep Work. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it completely changed how I think about work. So in this explainer, I'm going to walk you through the big ideas from the book, because honestly, I think they have the power to change things for you too.
All right, let's get into it. Here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to figure out what deep work even is and why it's basically a superpower in the 21st century. Then we'll talk about how to train your brain to actually concentrate. After that, we'll get super practical and build a system for your day and defend your attention from all the noise. And to wrap it up, we'll see how to pull all of this together into a philosophy that actually sticks.
So let's kick things off right where my own journey started. It was with this one single, really powerful idea that kind of reframes everything you think you know about being productive today.
This right here, this single paragraph is pretty much the entire argument of the book in a nutshell. What Newport's pointing out is this massive gap in our world. The very skill that's becoming most valuable, the ability to really focus and create things that are hard to do, is the exact same skill that our culture of constant distraction is destroying. But here's the kicker. That gap creates a huge opportunity. If you can be one of the few people who actually builds this skill, you're not just going to do okay, you're going to thrive.
So what exactly is deep work? Well, the book defines it like this: professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. Let's just pull that apart for a sec. The two phrases that really matter are distraction-free concentration and push your cognitive capabilities to the limit. This is not just, closing your email for 20 minutes. This is that hard, focused effort. It's the coder hunting a bug. It's the writer trying to nail a chapter. It's a strategist developing a whole new plan from nothing. It's the stuff that creates real value and, just as importantly, it's the work that makes you better.
And that brings us to this really crucial comparison. Deep work versus its opposite, shallow work. On the left, you've got deep work. It's hard, it's valuable, it makes you smarter. And on the right, you have shallow work. And this is the stuff that fills up most of our days, right? Answering simple emails, posting on social media, logistical stuff. It's easy, you can do it while you're distracted, and pretty much anyone can do it. And honestly, the first time I saw this, it was a real gut punch. I realized my calendar was almost completely full of things from the right-hand column. I was living in the shallows, and I was mistaking being busy for being productive.
So why does this matter so much? Well, Newport argues that in this new economy, there are three groups of people who are going to win big. Those who can work with smart machines, those who are just the absolute best in their field, and those with access to capital. And here's the thing, deep work is the bedrock skill for those first two groups. You can't learn a complex new software or perform at an elite level if your brain is constantly jumping from one thing to the next. Shallow work? Well, that's the stuff that AI is getting better and better at every day. It's not a path to success anymore.
So the next big aha moment for me was realizing that focus isn't something you're just born with. It's a skill. It's like a muscle that you have to train at the gym. And when I was honest with myself, my focus muscle was, seriously, out of shape. The book says, to produce at your peak level, you need to work for extended periods with full concentration on a single task, free from distraction. Now that sounds super obvious, right? But just take a second and really think about your typical workday. Is it actually free from distraction? For almost all of us, the answer is a hard no. Our phone is buzzing, we've got a dozen tabs open, notifications are popping up. We have literally trained our brains to expect and even crave interruption, which makes hitting that peak performance almost impossible.
And the science on this is really clear. Working this way has lasting negative effects. Research shows that people who multitask all the time actually get worse at filtering out things that don't matter. Their working memory gets weaker. They become literally chronically distracted. Their brains even have to work harder to do simple things. So every time you think you're just quickly checking something, you're not just losing a few seconds. You are actively weakening the very part of your brain you need to do your best work.
And this leads to a really interesting, kind of challenging question. What if boredom isn't the enemy? Just think about it. Anytime you're standing in line, or waiting for a meeting, or you just have a quiet moment, what's the first thing you do? You reach for your phone. That constant need to fill every single empty second is what's destroying our ability to handle the sustained focus that deep work requires.
And this idea right here just completely flips the script. Don't take breaks from distraction. Instead, take breaks from focus. This was one of the biggest mindset shifts for me in the whole book. See, most of us live in a state of constant distraction, and we try to take these little short breaks from the distraction to do some focus. Newport says that is completely backwards. The goal is to make focus your default setting, and then schedule short, planned breaks from your focus to check email or whatever else. It's about taking back control.
So how do you actually train this focus muscle? Well, Newport gives a few mental workouts. First, schedule when you're going to use the internet. Don't just hop on whenever you feel like it. Set specific times and stick to them. Second, try something called productive meditation. This isn't about emptying your mind, it's about focusing it. When you're doing something physical, like walking or jogging, pick one single specific problem and just try to think it through, bringing your mind back to it every time it wanders. And if you want a really intense workout, try to memorize a shuffled deck of cards. The point isn't to become a card shark, it's to practice holding intense focus for a long time.
Okay, so we get why deep work is valuable, and we have some exercises to train our focus. But just knowing what to do isn't enough, right? The next and maybe most crucial step is building an actual system to make this happen in your real, messy workday. Good intentions just aren't enough without a plan.
The main tool for this is time blocking. It's defined as a method where you schedule every minute of your workday in advance. Now, I know what you might be thinking because I thought the same thing. That sounds awful. That sounds so stressful and rigid. But I quickly realized I was looking at it all wrong. Time blocking isn't about being a robot. It's about being intentional. It forces you to look at your day as a blank slate and make actual, conscious decisions about how you're going to spend your time.
And this quote right here is the absolute key to making it work. Your goal is not to stick to a given schedule at all costs. It's instead to maintain at all times a thoughtful say in what you're doing with your time going forward. Your schedule isn't your boss, it's your plan. Of course, things are going to go off the rails. A meeting runs long, a crisis pops up, that's just life. The point isn't to follow the plan perfectly. The point is, when chaos hits, you just take a second, redraw the rest of your day, and move forward with a new plan instead of just letting the day happen to you.
So here's the play-by-play. It's actually really simple. Step 1, just take a notebook and draw out your day in 30-minute blocks. Step 2, start plugging in your tasks. Be realistic. If a report will take 2 hours, give it 4 blocks. Step 3, and this is super important, you have to schedule the shallow stuff too. Block out time for email, block out time for lunch, for breaks, and add a few buffer blocks for when things go long. In step 4, you just revise it as you go. It's a living document that keeps you in the driver's seat. Now, even with a great schedule, actually starting that hard, deep work can be tough. That's where rituals come in. Think of your willpower like your phone's battery. It starts at 100% in the morning and just drains all day. Every little decision you make, when to start, where to work, how to begin, drains that battery. Rituals put all of those little decisions on autopilot, so you save all that precious mental energy for the work itself.
Newport suggests 2 key rituals that act like bookends for your day. First, you have your startup ritual. This is what gets you into the zone. It could be as simple as clearing your desk, pouring a specific cup of tea, and putting on headphones. It's a signal to your brain that says, okay, it's go time. And just as important is the shutdown ritual. This is what gets you out of work mode. You review what you did, you make a clear plan for tomorrow, and then you say a specific phrase like, shutdown complete. This was a game changer for me. It gives your brain permission to completely stop thinking about work so you can actually rest and recharge.
So as soon as I started scheduling deep work, I immediately ran into the next big problem. The entire world seems designed to pull you out of it. The forces of shallow work are everywhere, and you need to build a defense.
When it comes to teamwork, he talks about the hub and spoke model. And this is such a great way to think about it. The hubs are your open, collaborative places, your meeting rooms, your Slack channels. They're great for brainstorming and quick chats. But to actually turn those ideas into something real, you need spokes, private, quiet places where you can go to think. The problem is, most modern offices are all hub and no spoke. You have to be intentional about creating your own spokes, whether that's booking a conference room for yourself or just putting on some really good noise-canceling headphones.
I love this quote. It's all about what he calls the craftsman approach to your tools, especially things like email and social media. Think about it. A master woodworker doesn't just use every tool in their shop for every project. They pick the exact right tool for the job. We need to do the same with our digital tools. We need to stop and ask, is this tool actually helping me achieve my most important goals, or is it just a convenient distraction? It's about taking back your authority. So how do you actually do that? Well, Newport proposes a pretty radical experiment, the 30-day social media detox. Step 1. For 30 days, just quit all the social media that's optional in your life. If you're not going to get fired for not using it, it's optional. Step 2. After those 30 days are up, you have to ask yourself 2 really honest questions.
First, was my life noticeably worse because I couldn't use these services? And step 3, did anyone I actually care about even notice or care that I was gone? And step 4 is simple. If the answer to both of those questions is no, you quit them for good. This isn't about being anti-tech. It's about doing a real cost-benefit analysis on the things you let into your life.
And beyond social media, you gotta actively fight back against all the other shallow work. Here are a few tactics. First, try to talk to your boss and agree on a shallow work budget. Like, what percentage of your time should this stuff really take up? Second, try fixed schedule productivity. Just decide, I'm done at 5:30 every day, no matter what. That deadline forces you to be ruthless with your time. Third, change how you use email. And fourth, and this is a big one, let go of the idea that you have to respond to every single email. You don't. It's all about setting boundaries to protect your most valuable work.
All right, and that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. How do we take all these rules and hacks and actually turn them into a consistent, personal philosophy? Because a few good days of deep work is nice, but what we're really after is a deep life.
Newport brings in this idea from the business world that is just so true. Execution is more difficult than strategizing. It is so easy to read a book like this or watch an explainer and get all excited and make the perfect plan in your head. But the strategy is the easy part. The hard part is actually doing it. Day after day, week after week, especially after that first burst of motivation is gone.
So, to help with that execution, he uses a system called the 4 disciplines of execution. Don't let the corporate name fool you, it's super practical. Number 1, focus on the wildly important. Pick 1, maybe 2 huge goals for your deep work. Number 2, act on the lead measures. This means don't just track the final result, track the behavior that gets you there. For us, the number 1 lead measure is hours spent doing deep work. Number 3, keep a compelling scoreboard. This can be as simple as a calendar on your wall where you put a big X for every hour of deep work you complete. And number 4, create a cadence of accountability. Have a little meeting with yourself every week to look at your scoreboard, see what went right, and plan for the next week.
And this really is the ultimate takeaway from the whole book. You need your own philosophy for integrating deep work into your professional life. There is no one-size-fits-all answer here. The point of all these rules and systems isn't to follow them perfectly like a robot. It's to give you a toolbox so you can build your own personal system, one that actually fits your job, your personality, and your life.
And to get you started thinking about that, Newport lays out 4 different styles you could adopt. You've got the monastic approach, which is the most extreme. You basically try to eliminate all shallow work. Then there's bimodal, where you split your time. Maybe you do deep work for 3 weeks, then 1 week of shallow. The rhythmic approach is probably the most popular. It's all about making deep work a simple, daily habit, like doing 90 minutes first thing every morning. And finally, there's the journalistic style, where you just fit in deep work whenever you find a gap. This one's really only for the pros who can switch into focus mode in an instant.
So after all of that, this whole journey kind of boils down to one simple but really powerful question. It's a question I ask myself all the time now, and I'll leave it with you. What is the one deep project you could start that would change everything? My journey with this book taught me that the ability to actually do that project, it's not some gift you're born with. It's a skill. It's a skill you can build. By understanding its value, by training your mind, structuring your day, protecting your attention, and having a system to execute. And that is the path not just to getting more done, but to building a more productive and ultimately a more meaningful life.
Look, if any of this resonated with you, and you want to go even further with these ideas, I honestly can't recommend reading the book enough. We've put a link to Deep Work by Cal Newport down in the description for you. Thanks so much for joining me.